Chapter 17. Allow the kindness to touch your heart. Yin and Izuku rode in the back seat of Aru's and Rainya's car as they drove downtown for their double date. Apparently, they had already made reservations at a high-end sushi restaurant a week prior. Izuku had managed to find a freshly washed black collared shirt to wear paired with neatly pressed black slacks. Yin, on the other hand, had planned on wearing jeans and a blouse, until Raina took one look at her and declared, "That won't do." Before she knew it, Yin had been whisked into Raina's room and reappeared wearing one of her red silk dresses. As they rode through the city, Izuku stole glances at her. Yin sat silently by the window, the passing streetlights casting fleeting shadows across her dull face. She looked so far away. He didn't understand what had happened. One moment they had been standing in the hall closet, so close their breasts mingled. The next, she was crying her eyes out. That look, every time he remembered it, it made his heart ache. He had never seen her like that before. So vulnerable. Her eyes so sad and raw. He wanted to reach for her now, to take her hand, tell her it was okay. But she kept her arms crossed, her fingers clenched themselves in her lap. He never felt this way before. He's never seen someone upset and wanted to embrace them so hard that they melted into one, until their pain became his, and he could carry it for them. Why? Why did he have much and such a burning urge to take her pain away? It felt different than wanting to help someone in need or comfort a hurt friend. This was different. It was deeper. It was desperate. But he knew more than anyone else that she would only be uncomfortable if he tried to cheer her up or went on one of his impossible hugs. She'd probably break his hand, or worse. When they eventually arrived at the restaurant, it was even more extravagant than Izuku had imagined. Warm golden light glow spilled from the entrance, reflecting off the glass panels and polished wood. Inside the space was elegant. Soft music floated through the air, and the scent of fresh fish and seasoned wrapped rice around them. A koi pond ran along one side of the room, the water glistening with the movement of the bright, graceful fish. They were led to their seats and a handful of menus. Rainya's eyes sparkled as she looked at the drinks. "Yin, Midoriya, are you drinkers? They serve wonderful cocktails here." "I'm not much of a drinker," Yin mumbled, looking down at the menu. "I don't mind a good cocktail," Izuku answered. Rainya pointed to his menu. "Perfect. You should try this red wine. I heard from a friend that it was the most delectable thing she had ever spilt." Spilt? What does that mean? Izuku thought in his head. "Then it must be really good." He chuckled nervously, and dinner went on like that. Yin was trying her best to communicate to the conversation, but was finding it hard to focus on anything. When she excused herself to the restroom, Reina and Razuru leaned over the table to Izuku. "Is everything okay with the two of you?" Azuru asked. "Uh-huh," Izuku mumbled. "Yin seems kind of upset," Reina observed, placing a slim finger against her chin. "Did the two of you fight?" I actually don't know," he admitted. "I'm not sure what's wrong, and I don't know what to do about it." Rainya and Azuru gave each other an empathetic glare before turning back to him. "Why not try asking?" Azuru questioned. "I'm sure if you vocalize how you feel about her sadness and tell her that you're there to listen, she'll open up," Rainya said. Izuku's sweat dropped. "I don't believe it's ever that simple with Yin." Ugh. When Yin returned to the table, Renya and Azuru stood up from their seats. "Renya and I are going to visit the garden outside. The two of you continue your meal," insisted Azuru. "Yes, we'll return shortly," Renya waved goodbye as she linked arms with her husband. Izuku watched them walk away, Renya giving him a thumbs up. Great, he whispered. He turned to Yin, who barely paid any mind to their departure. Yin? She finally turned to him. Her eyes looked duller than usual. The shimmer of her dewy irises had faded. A lump formed in the center of her throat. I'm sorry, he apologized, his voice low. Her face remained unchanged. For what? You didn't do anything. You keep saying that, but... He cut herself off, taking a short inhale. I know that this entire situation we're in is not the best, but I've intruded into your home, your life. I understand why you treat me the way you do. You hardly talk to me. You can't even look at me in the eyes sometimes. The only time you remember my existence is when Rainy and Azuru are around, which I understand, and I'm sure our kiss made it even more difficult for the acknowledging me. I understand, okay? I do. I just wish you'd understand why you hate me. Her eyes began to twinkle again, her mouth parting openly sadly. Reina and Azuru returned, Izuku quickly turning back to greet them. While they began talking, Yin would only feel the lump in her throat growing bigger and bigger. No, I don't hate you at all. They didn't return from their double date until 11 p.m. Renya managed to fill her and Midoriya up with drinks, while they were too drunk to take anywhere. Azuru drove them home, Renya cuddling with his free hand in the passenger seat with the AC blasting. Yin observed from the back seat, watching the way Azuru would glance at his wife, ensuring by her beauty and the way her silky black hair danced in the breeze. It must have been nice to still be so madly in love with each other, even after being married for so long. Izuku was pretty much passed out, his head propped against the window. His eyes were closed, the air conditioner toying with his strands of his green hair. Yin swallowed hard, having to look away. They arrived home. Azuru helped Reina outside, while Izuku showed himself upstairs to shower. Yin fixed herself some tea and enjoyed it in the kitchen until she heard Izuku leave the bathroom. Then, she washed up for the night. When she entered the bedroom upwards, the lights were already turned off. Izuku was lying in bed, asleep, the covers pulled up over his face. He must be the sleepy type of drunk. Yin's gently sat on the edge of the bed, of her side. Midoriya, are you awake? I don't hate you, she whispered. I'm sure that you're already aware, but I lost someone very close to me around this time last year. I met him at the police academy when I moved out here at 18. When we graduated, yet you loved our dynamic so much that he made us undercover partners, placing us on cases together all the time. One night, on a case we were working on, we got into a fight with villains. He and I got separated, and I was up against a really strong opponent. I had to activate my quirk for the entire time. When it was over, I had gone completely blind. I saw nothing but white light. Without my sight, all my senses had dulled. Sound became distorted. I kept bumping into walls. Everything smelled like blood and sweat. Then out of nowhere, I was being pushed down a flight of stairs, him yelling my name as he shoved me. I hit my head and passed out, and when I woke up, it looked like I had risen from the dead. Blood surrounded me, pouring out of a gush in the back of my head. I climbed back up to the stairs to the scene of the crime, only to find my partner lying still on the ground. My sight couldn't pick up any movement. He died. He pushed me to protect me from whatever was coming our way. Yin looked down at the trembling hands in her lap. That's why I kept taking undercover work. It was selfish, but I needed to prove to myself that I was strong and didn't need him to protect me. That the reason for his death wasn't because of me and my weakness, but because of him and his kindness, his his stupidness. I never truly meant to be rude, to ignore you. Yes, I have a sharp tongue, and yes, tough skin. I always have. But that doesn't mean I don't have insecurities. I was just pushing you away because every time I allowed your kindness to touch my heart, I would see him. I'd remember that it's my fault that he's no longer in this world. That I so selfishly allowed myself to take advantage of his kindness. I can't let you in my eyes or talk about my day without you, or pass by your class and watch you teach without seeing him. It allows almost the same feeling he cursed me with, pushing me for being the reason he's dead. I just can't stand kind people. They make me sick, forcing me to look at myself and question why I feel the need to cling to them so desperately. Even Atara, the thought that he might become a pro and find himself a similar situation where he'll have to sacrifice his life to protect someone else's, maybe mine, it terrifies me. Then I'll have to do this all over again, spending my days miserable, repaying them for the kindness they lent me all those times. Maybe their kindness fills a hole in me. It's the strength of theirs that I wish I had. I guess I believe if I hold on to someone else's kindness, then maybe it'll rub off on me. Then I won't have to use someone else, and I won't have to pay them back. But holding onto their kindness only ruins them, so I don't see any reason to continue trying to allow someone so nice if nothing good comes out of it. A pair of arms suddenly embraces her, one holding her across the chest and the other around her waist. Her breath caught, heat spiking through her body. She could only feel his warm, shaking breath against her neck, and then tears sprinkled her collarbone, following from his eyes from her shoulder. She must have been so tired, working so much, never taking a break, all because she feels nothing but immense guilt and pain. Why can't you see that you're already so terribly kind? Izuku whispered sadly, holding her tighter. Her body felt empty, her eyes stinging. Atsura told me you used to protect him from bullies as a child. Do you really think that you did so because you were looking for something in return? You protected him because you cared, and he's still here. Even now, you're a detective who risks your life to protect your community. That kind of selflessness doesn't just disappear. It's a part of who you are. You haven't pushed away anyone who treats you with kindness, no matter how much you try to convince yourself otherwise, because deep down, you know you deserve someone who will pour everything into you, the same way you do for others. That might be the only selfish part about you. As for your partner you lost, I'm sure he would hate to hear you talk about yourself like this. He protected you for the same reason you protect others. Out of kindness, out of love. He's not cursing you. He wanted you to keep living, not out of guilt, not to atone, and not as some form of punishment, but because you love him. He loved you. That's why he saved you, not to keep living for him, but for you. Put yourself in his shoes. Or put yourself in Atra's shoes. Would you want someone you love to keep living just to repay a sacrifice? Or would you want them to live their life fully because they deserve happiness? Ian's voice caught in her throat. Feeling warm tears escape the ducts of her eyes. And if you think you're using me, filling some void, making up for what you think you lack, I don't care. If that's what it takes to keep you from pushing me away, then so be it. But please, stop treating me like I'm invisible. Stop acting like I'm some incidents in your life. It hurts more than I can explain. I don't want special treatment, not the good or bad. I ask that you see me as me. Smile at me, yell at me, tease me, say good morning to me. Be your complete and whole self in return. All I ask is that you see my complete and whole self. I want to know that you see me just for the next couple weeks. Then we'll go separate ways, and we'll never have to speak again. A thick silence between them settled. Izuku's arms loosened, his forehead pressing against the nape of her neck. The alcohol still clung to him, wrapping reality. Sorry, guys. Oh my god, that was really intense. Making it impossible to tell his words had made any sense at all. Maybe she was about to push him away, furious that he dared to hold her like that. Or maybe she scoffed at the selfishness of it all. His audacity to ask her to make him feel less alone for something neither of them asked for. Instead, she turned, throwing her arms around his neck, the force of it knocking them both back onto the mattress. Their weight sank against him, and then, in the quiet of the room, she broke, trembling, crying softly into his skin, her breath warm against his collarbone. Izuku stilled, then hesitant let his hands trail up her back before wrapping his arms around her and holding her close. Ian, his voice was small, barely above a whisper, his face buried. I just want to cry, she whispered. Her voice, it was soft again, gentle and youthful, thin and airy. He wanted you to keep on living, not out of guilt, not to atone, and not as some form of punishment. Because he loved you. That's why he saved you. Not to keep living for him, but for you. She dug a hand into his hair, the other gripping his collar, as if afraid he'd vanish if she let go. Please, let me cry. Of course, he replied, shutting his eyes and only listening to her soft wails. Man, I started crying while even reading this. But hello guys, if you have been wondering where I am, I have been sick really badly. Holy moly, I'm so sorry about that, guys, but I'm back. I hope that you aren't mad at me. It's just being sick was really bad. But, what do I have to say? Well, really nothing. I was just sick and, well, wanted you guys to enjoy this video, and I hope you did, and holy moly, it was an emotional one. But anyways, I loved you all so much. Bye! Mwah!